are useful for the agent, but they also useful for the developers.
Okay, so you just mentioned three entry points: web, skills, and CLI,
Yeah.
which are also mentioned by Ling Ling just now. So I think these are core to Qwen Cloud. But why you build three, but not one unified entry? And what's the philosophy behind it?
Okay. Actually, we are not creating three entry points just for the sake of it.
Okay.
Okay. So we are separating the three very different jobs: exploration, understanding, and execution. If one interface tries to do all of that three, it usually becomes heavy and vague. Website solves the exploration and trust problem. Human users need to browse their models, try outputs, compare results, understanding pricing, redux, and form judgment. That process needs context, visualization, and some storytelling, of course. But skills solve the agent understanding problem. A skill is not just documentation. It's more like a playbook written for the agents. It tells the agent when to use the Qwen Cloud and how to use the Qwen Cloud, what the preconditions are, and how to choose the right model. Maybe which actions need the user confirmation and what to do when something fails. Okay, so CLI solves the execution problem. Once the agent or developer knows what to do, they need something stable, repeatable, and scriptable. CLI can run in a terminal, in the script, CI/CD, or inside a coding agent. It can return like JSON as code, request ID, and clear errors. So I would describe it this way: website is where humans see the capabilities. Skills are where agents learn the capabilities. Well, CLI is where humans and agents execute their capability. So underneath, it is still the same platform capability, not three disconnected products. So this connects to a broader idea in agent design. The real opportunity is to take the high-value, structured to accessible and verifiable system and redesign them into capability system that agents can understand, call, and execute. So website, skills, and CLI are the three layers of that system.
Okay, so among website, skills, and CLI, among those three, which one has surprised you most in how it's actually being used?
Okay, if I have to choose one, I would choose the skills, because at the beginning, I thought skill will be a very technical things, mainly for the developers or coding agents or any other agent framework. But after using it and showing it to my colleagues, I realized that the value is lighter and more general than I expected. What surprised me is that skills are both useful and relatively easy to create. You do not always need a very heavy engineering system at the beginning. If you can clearly describe the use case, the preconditions, the steps, and the error handling, and maybe the boundary of the complex task, the agent can already become much more stable. It is like taking the experience that used to live inside the expert head and turning into an operating manual that agent can read. This also reveals something about users. Many users do not really want to learn the platform. It's complicated. They do not want to memorize the model names and read the API docs, understand the parameters, or deal with the authentication details. So maybe they want to express a goal, like help me choose the model for image understanding, or maybe help me generate an image, or check whether this API works. Okay, so skills allow the agent to learn the platform on behalf of the users and turn the platform capability into the task results. So the surprising part is not only that skill help agents use Qwen Cloud, it is that skills may become a new distribution format for cloud capabilities. In the past, we distribute pages, docs, SDK, and APIs. But in the agent area, we maybe also distribute skills so the product can teach the agents how to use itself. And the CLI is also very interesting, actually, but in a different way. CLI has self-explanatory help, stable behavior, structured output, and clear error codes. These are very agent-friendly, but if we talk about what changed my thinking mode, skills change how I think about the product distribution. CLI feels more like the solid execution foundry underneath.
Okay, so let's first dive into our skills. We usually write documentations for humans to teach them how to use a platform. And then we prepare skills for agents. So what's the difference between writing instructions and teaching people with documentations?
Okay. Well, the biggest difference is that humans can fill in the gaps, but agents need the key judgment to be explicit. A human can read the API docs and combine them with experience, context, search result, or advice from the colleagues. But an agent can easily go in the wrong direction if the instruction is vague. It may choose the wrong model, miss an odd step, or ignore a permission boundary, or keep retrying the wrong path. So skills are not just API docs in a new format. Skills turn product knowledge into a task strategy. A good skill should tell the agent when this capability should be used and when it should not be used, what inputs are required, or what to check first, which tool to call, or how to know whether it succeeds, and what to do when it fails. Okay, I like the coach analogy. A coach does not just give you a list of equipment of the gym, right? A coach tells you what to do for your goal, in what order, and how to correct mistakes. So skill works the same way. They don't just tell the agent, here are the features. They tell the agent for the task, here's how you should act. So this is the key step, moving from chat to execution, from simply answer question to a React-style loop of reasoning and acting. If the system can only talk, it is still an assistant, but cannot verify. It is an automation. But if it can understand, act, verify, and correct itself, then it starts to become a real agent workflow. Skills help write that path for the agents. So for Qwen Cloud, skills can guide the agents through the model selection, like model invocation, authentication tasks, usage, query, and error recovery. If the model does not support images, don't force it. It will choose the vision model. If the authentication is missing, just don't guess. Just check the login or API key. If quota is the issue, maybe you would just explain clearly what happened and what the user can do next. So good skills reduce the guessing and turn a complex platform into a learnable, executable method.
Okay. And after skills, let's move to CLI. Many people see CLI as old school, but it's making a comeback. So why is CLI so important in the age of agents?
Okay. Well, CLI may look like old school, old tools, but in the aging era, it becomes surprisingly modern, because the reason is that many things agents need are exactly what good command line tools have always been good at, like clear commands, stable input, structured output, exit code, and help text, self-explanation, clear arrows, and repeatable execution. Well, GUI is great for humans because humans need a visual context, comparison, and confirmation. But for agent, GUI is often not the most stable interface. Like page change, button will change, layouts will change, and it is hard for an agent to know whether it clicked the right thing. Well, CLI is different. A command is clear action, and the result is a traceable state. So the comeback of CLI is not about going back to the past. It is about the aging era needing a domestic execution layer. An agent can use the CLI to query models, run models, check usage, inspect billing, diagnose issues mid-task. But for humans, it is an efficient terminal workflow. For agents, it is close to an execution protocol. So after building parts of the CLI myself, I have a strong feeling that CLI cannot be designed only as something human can read. It has to be designed with the writer of an API, like command names, parameters, and JSON field, error codes, and permission prompts all need to be stable, because agent will rely on them to decide the next step. This goes back to the earlier point. Agents are not afraid of complexity, they are afraid of chaos. So the value of CLI is to turn the complex operation into clear, callable, verifiable action. Complex cloud capability does not always have to be simplified into one button. It can also be organized into a command system that agent can execute reliably.
All right, thank you. Let's shift gears. Xijue, as we can see that Qwen Cloud provides many different models, but how does Qwen Cloud help developers find right models?
Okay. In my opinion, parameter inducing is a gap between how models are measured and how they're actually used. Benchmarks, parameter counts, context length, those are models factor respects, I think. But what decides if a model works for you is your data, your prompts, and your delay limits and your budget. The blind box of failure isn't because models are bad. It's because trying and feeding costs too much. Every model switch easily is half a day. What Qwen Cloud does breaks down into 3 layers. First, lowering the cost of trying. Users can filter models by context length, core abilities, input or output formats, and pricing. Try AI lets you compare multiple models with the same prompt, no code, turning trying a model from half a day into 30 seconds, I think. Second, making cost performance visible. After your tests, the system shows quality per core cost and delay side by side, not a single ranking, but a multiple factor comparison. Model A may have the best quality, but costs 3 times of Model B, while Model B is only 5% worse and much cheaper. That trade-off only becomes clear on the same page, I think. Third, matching rather than recommending. The strongest model isn't always the best fit. Using a top-tier model for simple intent sorting, I think it's like correcting a lot with a sledgehammer, I think. We are building a scenario model matching engine. You give us a task type, quality baseline, delay list, and budget. And the system narrows it 2 or 3 choices instead of handing you dozens and let you to guess.
Okay, so let's talk about cost. We see 2 hot topics in the industry now. One is token anxiety, the fear of costs getting out of control. Another is token maxing, which means people are trying to make use of every token. What's behind the 2 mindsets, do you think?
Okay, very good question. I think, in my opinion, they are actually 2 sides of the same coin, rooted in the same thing, the unpredictability of the large language models era. Token anxiety, I think, is the passive form built on 3 layers. Vague price perception, because the token as a measurement unit is very abstract for the normal users. The second is lack of visibility for low real-time beer. And the third is fear of losing control because an agent burning through the budget overnight. Token maxing, I think, is the active pushback. Users put all their attention into saving tokens instead of creating value with AI. We call this cognitive tax, and what it eats up is users' most precious resource, attention. Here is a counterintuitive finding. Cost anxiety is not a pricing problem. It is an information and sense of control problem. A user spending only a few dollars a month can feel just as anxious as one spending thousands if they cannot read the bill. On the other hand, some high spending users feel completely calm because their bills are clear and consumption is under control. So the ideal state is to let users forget the net cost even exists. Large language models are fundamentally productivity tools. If users spend half their mental energy calculating when this action costs too much, the view of the tool is already cut in half. Only when users no longer feel anxious and no longer feel the need to do token maxing can we see the problem has truly been solved.
Yeah.
Okay, from Qwen Cloud perspective, is there any way to solve this at the platform level, not just making things cheaper, but making users stop worrying about their cost entirely?
I think the core of the solution comes down to one sentence: turn uncertainty into certainty. Users are not afraid to spend. They are afraid of not knowing where the money goes and whether it will suddenly spike. Following this thread, we have done three things. First, reshape the billing model with token plan. Monthly subscription fits the budget, like a gym membership. Once the monthly fee is paid, you stop counting cents every time. It is a win-win, I think. Users can get certainty and the platform gets stable revenue and higher engagement. Second, let token plan and pay-as-you-go work alongside each other, not replace each other. I think pay-as-you-go face API integration and production workloads, scenarios with flexible demands, token plan face AI coding tools and agent tools, high-frequency scenarios. Set, get the aged cases and the transparency right, I think. For the broad too much case, we use multiple tiers and history-based recommendations to match users. Certainly not the most expensive option, but the best fit one. For the exceeded the limit case, the excess smoothly falls back to pay-as-you-go, where users can be guided to upgrade. The core principle is to never let users feel any billing-related break. At the same time, we provide completely visual details. Thinning curves by application and by models are more visible with proactive alerts when the balance hit its threshold. Users are not unwilling to spend money. They just need that feeling of everything is under control.
Token plan sounds a very promising solution, but when people use agent, it's getting harder because agents don't sleep, they don't pause. So they work all the time and they may call models all the time. So how do you balance the automation efficiency with giving users a sense of control?
I think the key change is the transfer of control. This autopilot style consumption amplifies the loss of control feel. Our approach is to add a safety belt to automation in two layers. The first layer is real-time control, keeping the agent under control instead of letting it run wild. Three safeguards. The first is spending caps. Set a budget ceiling, service stops automatically when hit. Real-time spending updates, a live cost curve while running, abnormal pattern detection when the rate differs sharply from history. The system pauses on its own. The second layer is after-the-fact transparency. Qwen Cloud's billing supports analysis by API key, workspace, model, and so on. Who is using it, how much, and where the cost comes from can all be traced at a glance. For enterprises, agents move from a cost black box to a manageable asset. Looking further ahead, the billing unit itself will evolve, I think. Today, we charge per token. Tomorrow, it may be per task or even per outcome. Like using electricity, you do not need to calculate kilowatt hours. The closer the billing unit gets to a view outcome, users can directly feel the smaller the anxiety becomes. Come back to the original question, the ultimate goal of everything we are doing. It's not to make users think this platform is cheaper, but to make users completely forget that cost is even a thing when they use the product from the calculative tax to certainty to control and value-based billing. Everything we have talked about is really about having users moving their attention away from calculating costs and back to creating value. When a user is running an agent and no longer thinks, well, this bursts through everything into light, that is the moment we will know this problem has truly solved.
Good point, Xue. Thank you. So now let's look ahead. Ling, Qwen Cloud just launched, but it has already engaged many developers worldwide. Can you share a real case where someone built something with Qwen Cloud that completely exceeds your expectation?
Yes, there was one. I remember that there was a developer who wants to do an agent that could make marketing assets on its own. And now the old way is he had to find the right model and copy the API endpoint and write the calling code, and then test it and then walk the agent through the whole thing step by step. I think it's tedious and it breaks very easily. And then he plugged it into Qwen Cloud skills, and the whole thing had changed, you know. He just gave the agent one instruction, and he played the language and the skills prompt. And from there on, the agent can just woke up. It didn't know any of the plumbing underneath, and it did the whole thing itself. Look at the screenshots and read the documents and generate the images and summarize the video end to end. So what surprised us most was the speed. You know that he had to make about 2 weeks just to test his step, and it was running in a few minutes now. And because Qwen Cloud does about 6 modalities out of the box, you know that text, vision, image, video, audio, and embeddings, all of them at our platform. And his app didn't stop at the chatbot, and it turned into a real multimodal content factory. And that shift from I'm teaching the machine how to, and just telling it what I want, you know, it made move very faster than even we saw coming. And it's not just in marketing, you know, that we have seen our developers who build on our Qwen Cloud for like B2B procurement and negotiation and anti-fraud, and just like operation and lifecycle apps. And you name it, and just for us, that's the whole point. The skills behind Qwen Cloud are showing up everywhere. And that's exactly what we hope from the day one.
That was amazing. The next question is for all of you three. In 1 or 2 years, which agent capabilities or applications that seem cool but not practical today will become widely used among ordinary people?
Okay, I answer this first. And here is an agent that runs across the audio, the text, and image and video on its own end to end. I think it's going to feel like basic as electricity and as big as running water. Today, people see an agent, look at an image or listen to the audio or make a video, and they think that's cool. But a lot of them still don't see the point. You know, the reason is simple. There is still a person in the middle, being the glue between every step. And I think over the next year, maybe next month, at platform like Qwen Cloud roll out standard skills and CLI, the glue goes away. An agent doesn't need a human to work it from one modality to the text. And now picture it. Maybe an agent gets a meeting recording, and that's audio. And it can translate it and puts out to do, and that's the text. And then maybe it looks at the project screenshots like Vision. And then it can build a video report with the chart. I think it shaped the whole thing into the internal system through maybe the CLI by itself. So that sounds like a demo day. Maybe in a year, maybe in a few months, as you feel as obvious as turning on a tap. And developer, I think, don't sit here worrying about which model handles the image and which one handles the audio. I think they'll just say the goal on our platform. It can pulling all of the modalities together on its own to stop being a presumed feature. I think it will become the default by default. As how AI apps come out of the box, and how the exact timeline loosely. But by direction, I'm pretty sure about all of the direction.
Okay, and Xijue?
My bet is memory and context that follows you across tools. Today, every agent is like a patient with arm leisure. Every chat feels like a first meeting. You have to tell it again who you are and what project you are working on, what your preferences are, and where you left off last week. Right now, this still looks kind of cool. Whoever does it well gets to brag about their long-term memory feature. But 1 year from now, it will become as boring as cookies or sessions. You can't get anything done without it, but no one will bother putting it on a feature list anymore. I think a year from now, when we talk about agents, no one will see our agent has memory, just like no one today says our website supports cookies. It will sit quietly at the protocol layer, turned on by default, invisible to the user, but the whole ecosystem falls apart without it. That's what real infrastructure looks like. The kind you take for granted, like water and power, I think.
盘古
Okay, my broader prediction is that collaboration and transaction between agents maybe will start to feel much more natural. Because today we still think of agents as individual tools, but in the future, they may look more like small teams, visual organization, or even visual companies. So one agent does not have to do anything by itself. It can call another specialized agent or purchase a tool or dataset or service for the task. So the foundation is that the agents will become authorized and extensible working units. Users can add skills to their agents, grant access to certain capabilities, and define what the agent is allowed or not allowed to do. Once those boundaries are clear, collaboration and every transaction between agents become much more realistic. And by then, the word AI may become less visible. Today, we don't say, I used a computer to make a deck, or I used computer to make a keynote, or I used a computer to write a code, right? We just say, I made a deck, or I wrote a code. In the same way, AI and agents may be everywhere in the background, but people may stop saying, I use the AI to do this. It just become part of how work gets done.
Cool. I really hope all these predictions will come true. Okay, the final question for Ling Ling. What's the next step for Qwen Cloud?
Okay, you know that we start with AI native, and where we are going, I think, as agent native. And let me explain the difference. AI native means that our platform is built around models from the ground up, and we have three ways in, just like skills for agents and web for human and CLI for workflows. And we build with multimodal out of the box. That part we have built. And next step is agent native. It means that the agent is not just supported. The agent is the main user. And think about it, half of the API calls in production today aren't made by humans. They are made by agents. So we design for that the agent should be able to read the platform itself and find what it needs and call it and pay for what it used and clean up after. And no person in the middle and no figuring out the plumbings. And you know that skill was the first piece of that. And with only one prompt, the full platform. And now I think it's just the start. The next is more of the agent can do its own and with less setup, just like model deployment and fine-tuning and more third-party models you can choose, and the enterprise side. Permissions you can control and billing you can see. And I'll be honest, we don't have all of it yet, and the future, I think it's fine. And now it's the starting part, now the destination. Whatever developers and agents work, I think we want Qwen Cloud to be already there. So where we are headed, from AI native to agent native, and the fastest path from model to agent. I think today is the beginning, not the end.
Really look forward. Thank you. And thank you, Ling, Pangu, and Xijue for this fantastic conversation. If you're building with AI, please visit QwenCloud.com. And if you're building agents, please send Qwen Cloud to agents too. This is the end of the very first episode of Qwen Live. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.